Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Welcome in, everybody, to a bonus edition of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Torres. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is having a great day. And it is both with excitement and sadness that I am here to say that on today's show, for the final time this college hoop season, we are wrapping with Hassan Diarra, UConn guard. Why I say excitement but sadness is because as follows. When I started with Hassan, the goal was always to take you behind the scenes of a national championship run. And so the excitement is that we did it. UConn gets to the finish line. UConn wins a national championship, and it was a huge part because of Hassan Diarra. Unbelievable player. And I think one of the cool parts about this experience is the number of people who are not UConn fans that have told me privately, publicly, whatever, of I started to really just enjoy watching this kid play after hearing Hassan Diarra on your show. So that's where the excitement comes from. That's where the happiness comes from. And we're going to talk about everything with Hassan here over the next couple minutes. We're going to talk about both Final Four games, Alabama and Purdue. We're going to talk about the confetti falling. We're going to talk about the parade on Saturday. By the way, the travel issues getting from Connecticut to Phoenix for the Final Four. Dan Hurley, was he ever worried that Dan Hurley was going to seriously consider leaving UConn? And finally, we'll tease a little bit a big decision that Hassan Diarra has. He, of course, has the extra year of COVID eligibility. We do not, and I would not ask him to break that story here on this show, but he gives you a little preview of what he's thinking and the time frame in which he expects to make the decision. Before we get started, in addition to the final time with Hassan Diarra, for the final time this year, I want to thank Shay's Pizzeria and Sports Bar in Manchester, Connecticut for presenting the Hassan Diarra segment. Shay's Pizzeria and Sports Bar, come for the food, stay for the fun. Listen, this place is awesome. It was your one-stop shop for all things UConn basketball. They were on the road for 4 straight weeks, from the Big East tournament to the first round of the NCAA tournament and the second round, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final Four. By the way, UConn's last 2 regular season games were on the road. So essentially, you're talking about 5 straight weeks. Shay should have been your spot. It is your spot. Here's the cool part. The biggest outdoor patio in the state of Connecticut. It is obviously going to be opening here soon, and they are just the spot. Have live music every Friday and Saturday, and we have been so blessed to work with Shay's Pizzeria and Sports Bar. Thank you to Jack, the owner there, Charles, his lead man, Shay's Pizzeria and Sports Bar. Come for the food, stay for the fun, live music on Fridays and Saturdays. Thank you again. With that said, want to take a quick break. We'll come back for the final time this college hoop season. Hassan Diarra, UConn guard, 2-time national champion, joins us. That is next. All right, joining me via Zoom. You know, we've been doing this since probably early to mid-February. The goal was always to end the season by calling Hassan Diarra a 2-time national champion. And sure enough, joining me right now, the 2-time national champion UConn Huskies, fresh off a parade on Saturday. Hassan Diarra is with me. Hassan, what's up, man? How you? I see that smile on your face. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you, Aaron?
I'm good. First of all, how does that sound? Hassan Diarra, 2-time national champion.
I mean, I think it sounds great. I mean, it's amazing, man, to be called that, to be a part of history, and to be a part of just this rich, historic program. It's just truly amazing.
You know, we've talked a lot about this, but you know, what is it like? And this applies to anything in life, right? A school, a degree, a marriage, or whatever. To speak something into existence, to have Coach Hurley, since last April, talk about going back to back, and we've talked about it before. Brooklyn to Boston to Phoenix. That was the path that you guys always envisioned and talked about. To see it come to fruition, what is that feeling like, knowing that everything Coach Hurley told you guys and everything that you worked for again came to fruition?
Yeah, I feel like we was able to manifest it. Set out a couple goals, and just stay locked in the whole way through and achieve all those goals. I mean, we set out a goal to win 5 championships, and we were able to do that. So it just shows how the work we put in is working. And I mean, we got the ultimate goal of what we wanted.
So the 5 championships would be the preseason tournament, Texas and Indiana, Big East regular season, Big East tournament. I assume the East region is the fourth one. Is that accurate? Okay, there you
Yes,
go.
yes, sir. Yes,
All right.
sir.
I took Hurley 101 when I was in college too, so I got it all figured out. All right. Let's talk a little bit about it. It's been a minute since we talked. So we talked as you guys were getting ready to go to Phoenix. First of all, I haven't even talked to you. I mean, listen, I know it's water under the bridge now. Take us through the journey to Phoenix. We haven't talked since the plane's on the ground, and then you're on the ground, and then you're not on the ground, and then you're supposed to leave, and then you don't leave. Take us through that journey. We heard a lot about it, but we haven't heard anybody that actually lived through it on that Tuesday heading into the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, we were at a restaurant, Capitol Grill, and we were about to go to the airport right after we ate. But they said they had some trouble with the plane. This was around 7 p.m. So we kind of was on the waiting around a little bit. They couldn't find a plane, and then they found a plane and they couldn't find a crew after that. So we ended up going back to campus, spending a couple hours on campus again, just in our rooms in our dorms. Was able to find a flight and a crew around 11:30. So the plane took off about, I will say, 1 o'clock. 1 a.m. is when the plane took off. It wasn't a bad flight. It started off a little bumpy, but it ended up being really smooth at the end. We got to Phoenix around 4:30 a.m. and then we just got to the hotel. Everybody just crashed out. We was up in the morning and ready to go for practice.
A stupid question. Listen, I know you guys travel all over the country, and I know Coach Hurley said, we can't complain we're at the Final Four, but what was that? That's not a normal travel schedule that I'm aware of. And most of the other teams, I think Alabama even got in like a day before you, Purdue got in on time. Was it an adjustment physically? I mean, for those of us who, we all have had jet lag, but for you guys that have to perform at peak level, what was there an adjustment, or was that not that big of a deal?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there was a little adjustment with the time difference being 3 hours behind in Arizona. Definitely you're fatigued, but I mean that's why we get there early, a couple days early, so our bodies and our minds can get acclimated to the time difference, the weather, and things of that nature.
Did Coach Hurley try to use that in any way, shape, or form as motivation? They don't believe in us. They're trying to hold us back. Anything like that?
He might have mentioned it in practice, maybe once or twice, but I mean, ultimately, like I said, our motivation was our goals that we set out in the beginning of the season that we were able to achieve.
Really quick, Coach Hurley was public with we use any chip on our shoulder, for an edge here with the Huskies. Do you have a good example of something crazy that he pulled out of his what, where you're like, Coach, I love you, but I don't even know if I'm buying what you're selling here. Like, what's the craziest thing he's tried to do to motivate you throughout the last couple seasons?
Let's see. I mean, he said a couple things. The flight one was a funny one, definitely. And then he'll say in the beginning of the season, they had us ranked number 8, I think, and I think he used to bring that one up a lot. He'll say, I mean, they really don't think we're good. So I mean, if y'all gonna go out here, you guys could prove them right or you could prove them wrong. So it's up to y'all.
It's interesting. Yeah, I had forgotten until I forget if it was the podium or somebody brought up that you guys were picked to finish third in the Big East, which is insane. And it's no disrespect to Creighton or Marquette, but it's like you forget about stuff like that. You guys don't forget, but even me, who's in it every day, is like, oh damn, they really were picked to finish third in the Big East. Real quick, Bama, and it was funny, I had the fortunate opportunity, for people who don't know, the media is allowed in the locker rooms before the games, after the games, whatever, at a Final Four. I had a chance to talk to you a little bit before the Bama game, and I remember asking you, like, dude, they hit 16 threes against Clemson in the Elite Eight, right? And so I bring it up because the obvious answer is, don't let them hit 16 threes. But it's like, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. Take us into the prep for the Bama game because, in a lot of ways, it ended up being maybe the toughest game that you guys played all year. And there was a moment there where it was like, good Lord, they just, every time that you guys go on a little 6-8-0 run, something like that, they come back. What was that Bama game like, both in prep, but then when you're on the court and they're just hitting contested fall away, 28-foot Steph Curry threes out on you guys?
Yeah, the prep was amazing. I thought Coach Kamani did a great job with the scout. We understand and guarded their action pretty well. I would say definitely the prep was good. I'll say the pace and the transition was the main thing that we had to focus on. And because they play so fast and want to get the ball up so quick and get one pass shot, we focused a lot on transition. And then just when we're guarding the 3-point line, we were able to really get in them and force them to Donovan. When you have a big fella like that down in the paint, it makes your life a lot easier.
I'll give you credit, man, because all year long you've said Donovan is the most impactful player on both ends of the floor. And no disrespect to anybody else, but it was like you saw it those final couple games in the tournament, the Illinois game, the Alabama game, even the Purdue game. He's in foul trouble, but obviously it goes without saying he's able to guard everybody one-on-one. Really quickly, you mentioned that Coach Kamani had the scout. We know so much about Coach Hurley. But Coach Murray, Coach Moore, Coach Kamani behind the scenes, Coach Young are all crucial to what you guys do. Tell us a little bit about each of them, because again, we don't want to undersell anybody on the road to a championship, and probably those guys, and Coach Hurley has said, probably don't get enough credit for, the value that they bring to your guys' program.
Yeah, those three guys are the backbone of this program. Coach Kamani is a drill sergeant. He's always there for you. He's always pushing you to limits where you don't think you could reach. But they're basketball geniuses. Coach Luke, his offensive schemes, his scouts are amazing. He knows how to instill confidence in us. And Coach Moore, he's like the perfect fit. He's the guy you go to when you're feeling down, and he instills ultimate confidence in you. And he's a jokester as well. But the combination of our coaching staff is the best in the country. They do an amazing job, and that's why we're so successful.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Purdue. So I will also say this is that, listen, respectfully to Purdue, but again, being in the locker room around you guys, I felt a little bit of confidence from you guys that the way Bama played, with the speed, with the transition threes, again, when you can hit 16, 17 threes in a game, you could beat anybody on any given night. I did feel a little bit of confidence amongst the locker room Saturday night going into Sunday, going into Monday. What was the attitude? And then obviously when you first put on that Purdue tape and you see what you're in for in a national championship game, what'd you guys see from the Boilermakers?
We were super excited, especially that we get to play for a national championship. I think we're even more excited that we get to play against the best team in the country, the second best team in the country. Because they were number one all year for most of it. For the last 2 years, they've been pretty good. To go up against them, it was like, we have to earn this one. And I think it was the perfect game for us. The preparation was amazing. It was Coach Luke Scout. He did a great job explaining what kind of team they are and how they really want to play. Of course, they had the big fella. The big fella, he's a force to be reckoned with. But it was the other guys that we had to stop and really guard the 3-point line, because they're the second best shooting 3-point team in the country, and we understood that, and I think we executed that to the T. They made one 3-pointer the whole game, which is key for us.
Was that the scout? We could share now. Let the big guy 37 points, I think he finished with, something like that, maybe 40, I can't remember. Was that the scout? Let him get his buckets, but the 3-point line is where we're going to win and lose this game defensively?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily let him get his buckets. I mean, we understood we got a big monster as well in Donovan. He's the best defender in the country. So we believed in Donovan. Donovan did an amazing job after the first 6 minutes. After the first 6 minutes, Donovan did an amazing job on the big fella. But yeah, the other guys, I mean, they really can affect the team. And I mean, they're good players as well. We had to key in on them, and I mean, they shoot the ball really well. So we were able to really guard the 3-point line and take those other guys out of the game.
When did you guys feel like you were in control? And I'll just tell you as an observer, I was obviously in the building, but what I said was I thought the big fella, Edey, who's an excellent player, he played about as well as he could in the first half. And you guys were up 6 at the half. And I said, people say, well, you know, I mean, and I said, well, they were up by 4 against Bama at the half. They won by double figures. They were up by 5 against Illinois at the half. They won by quite a bit, quite a substantial margin. And I said they're up by 6 against Purdue, and you just got the best half from Edey. I thought at that point, now I would never say that. I don't want to put any voodoo on you guys, but I thought the game, I thought you guys were, once you went to halftime and you took, I thought their best shot. I was like, I think they're in pretty good shape. Did you, when did you feel like we have it? Maybe not it's done because it's never done till the final whistle, but that we have control of this game and that we have them exactly where we want them.
Yeah, I think we started to go on our run early in the second half when Tristan hit that big three to put us up by 9.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we really started rolling. Really got acclimated to the game. But I mean, I knew we were in control with about 5 minutes left, and I looked up and I mean, we were in pretty good shape. And they looked exhausted over there.
Yeah, the last couple minutes I thought it was interesting. Sampson fouls out. Donovan has 4, and Caravan, you know, comes in as, you know, starting center and not starting center, but center. And you guys don't miss a beat. The margin doesn't get any closer, and that was when I felt really good. This is the most cliche question I can ask, and I know there's no easy way to answer it. I mean, what is it like? Well, none of us are ever going to experience it. The confetti falling, the buzzer goes final, and again, for a second straight year, you get a minute or two to take a deep breath and celebrate. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know there's no way to fully express it, but I know there's no way to fully express it. But when that confetti falls, what does it feel like?
I mean, it's hard to really put into words because it's like you don't even dream of things like this. To do it once, but not to do it just once, but to do it twice. The confetti is falling, and you're just so happy for the people around you. The joy that they have, the relationship you built with them, how much work you put in it, and you just sit back and just think like everything is worth it. I mean, all the trials and tribulations, all the blood, sweat, and tears, everything is worth it.
What was it like for you? I mean, I saw you go into the stands. I assume your parents were there. I mean, to be able to share it, one with your brother, who's obviously getting a ring just like you are, second ring just like you are, but I assume you had a good contingent of family and friends that made it out to Phoenix last week.
Yeah, definitely. You know, my mom and dad came out there. They weren't able to go to Houston last year, so
Really? Wow.
yeah. So when it again this year in front of them was even more special. But you know, having my brother by my side the last 2 years has been just a true blessing. Just to go through everyday work with him, it makes me so happy.
Couple more. Before we get to the parade, let me ask you this and be honest. And I don't even know if this was on your radar. There was probably about a 4 or 5 hour period where I think Kentucky fans thought that they had a shot to get Coach Hurley as I see that smile. Okay, so so my job is to be on the internet covering the news, whatever. Were you following this? Were you even paying attention? Were you even aware? And was there ever a moment where you thought that Coach Hurley could potentially be leaving to take another coaching job?
I mean, yeah, I saw it on Twitter a couple times. You know, I mean, they were going crazy about it. Um, Honestly, I didn't think he'll leave. You know, what I mean, I'm sure he. I mean, I think he loves it here. I think the fans love him. I think he's built something that hasn't been here in a while, and I think he enjoys it. And you know, it's close to home, so I didn't think he was going to go to Kentucky. Um, pretty glad he didn't.
Mhm.
But I mean, the media is gonna talk. I think every program in the country wants their leader to be coach,
Sure.
because he's he's the best in the business right now. So I mean, I understood why.
Let me ask you a dumb question. I know you don't want to speak for coach, but back to back national championships. What do you think will motivate him going forward? Because, that was the argument from another fan base is he's done everything there is to do there. He's done it twice, start over, build it from scratch somewhere else. But what do you think now that we know, and he said at the parade on Saturday, he said, I'm never leaving UConn for any other college coaching job. What do you think is going to motivate him, whether you're back next year or not, which we'll talk about in a minute, but like, what do you think is going to motivate him going forward, having reached that mountaintop twice already?
Yeah, I mean, coach is never satisfied, and you've seen that throughout the season. The way he pushed us, and he'll tell us, I mean, we haven't worked. The job is not done yet. You know what I mean? So I think that the fact that he's never satisfied and he wants to be the best ever. You know what I mean, his competitive spirit, his competitive nature, would not allow him to be complacent and be satisfied with the position he's in now.
Have you gotten to know his dad at all? Has he been around? I know he goes to games. Have you been around his dad? Is his dad the same way? I mean, you're shaking your head for people listening on YouTube. It sounds like you've been around him at least a little bit. Is his dad similar, from what you can tell and drive? And I mean, we know about his resume, but just curious from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, his dad is a Hall of Famer, and I mean, you can see it in him when you talk to him how competitive he is, and how proud of his son he is. You know, what I mean, he's always around. He's coming to practices. He loves to talk to us and loves to be around us. So, I love having him around.
Awesome. Parade Saturday. I'm not in Connecticut anymore. I wasn't able to go. For people who were there, for people who weren't there, take us through what it's like to be on that float. Another thing that most of us will never have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, it's truly it was wild. It was like 60,000 people out there. I mean, it was a little bit cold. I'm not gonna lie, it was cold, but I mean, it was amazing seeing all those people with so much joy and so much love for the program, for the guys on our team. What I mean, we threw shirts out there for the fans. I wish we had 60,000, but we didn't. Uh, but just to see that with that many people come out and support and show love, it was truly amazing, and it was blessed to be a part of.
What do you guys do now? I mean, you and I spoke, and it sounds like you don't have the opportunity. You're going to be graduating in May, but what are these weeks like? I mean, one, it's incredible. You get to celebrate being a national champion, but you guys are still student athletes. You still got to be on campus. What is the week like without the structure of every day? I know I got to do this, 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 and this with college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you got to show up for class. I
Sure.
know that. So I mean, I mean, go to class, but I mean, so I feel like celebration is not completely over, but I mean, it's been like a week, so things have settled down more. But I'm getting back in the gym. A lot of the guys were back in the gym today. We got a couple of alums here. Joe, California, Kane,
Oh, okay.
James Book Knight been here. So I mean, we're gonna get in the gym, get a lift in, and get back to work.
How much does it help having those guys around? I mean, it's cliche, but Book was a lottery pick, and I know he's battling to get back into the league right now, but you got a lottery pick on the scout team, coming at you every day. I imagine, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really structured like
Oh,
that,
okay.
but going up against him, but definitely we'll play 1-on-1. We'll get in the gym, work out with each other. But having those guys around is always good to see them. Good to be around them, especially Joey. I think everybody in this program misses Joey.
Very good. A couple more, let you go. You mentioned Tristan, that big three. He's a guy that came in with you. He's obviously done. Would just be curious your perspective on him as a teammate, as a friend, whether you decide to come back or not. Your time with him, unfortunately, is done. As you just said, you miss having Joey California around. What are you going to remember about playing with Tristan?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember how much of a legend he is, man. How much of an imprint he's put on this program. What he has accomplished the last 2 years has been truly, truly amazing. Amazing to watch, amazing to be a part of. I mean, he's gonna do some amazing things in the near future, and I'm extremely happy for him, man. I'm seeing the work really pay off for him. It's been a great 2 years, man. I've learned so much from him.
You,
The way we've competed in practice each and every day, the way we were able to get each other better. Uh, so I mean, I'm extremely happy for him, and man, he's one of the greatest to ever do it in his jersey.
I won't ask you about every guy on the roster, but Cam Spencer, I don't think we've really talked that much about Cam. I mean, comes in from Rutgers. I mean, I don't know if you knew anything about him, but obviously in a short time, certainly makes his impact as a UConn Husky.
Yeah, I mean, Cam is the ultra competitor. The way it was just a perfect fit for him to come here, and what I mean, a lot of people say that, but I think everybody in the nation saw that. I mean, Cam is the perfect fit for this program, for coach. His work ethic, his resilience, his smarts. I mean, he was an amazing player. We wish we could have him for 2 more years, but I'm just extremely happy for him as well because he really works really hard, one of the hardest workers in the program, and for him to be successful is a blessing.
Lastly, I'll ask, if this is the end for you, we'll talk about your decision here coming up. Don't want any insight, but if this is the end for you, how do you want UConn fans to remember Hassan Diarra?
Just remember my life and energy and how much I care for this program. Um, really, 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 really love this program. This program has done so much for me, and I'm just I'm blessed and honored that I got a chance to put on that jersey.
Well, I'm not going to ask for what the decision is. That's not fair to you, but what is going to go into the factors? How long do you think you'll take to really decide? For people, I'm sure everybody listening knows Hassan has an extra year because of COVID. As I said, congratulations. You're set to graduate here in a couple weeks. What's going to go into the decision, and is there any sort of time frame on it or anything like that?
Yeah, I should know. I should know my decision by the end of this week. But ultimately, it's just what I'm feeling, what the coaches are feeling, um, and it just what's out there for me. And then we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, if you're coming back, listen, no pressure, but you got a nice little platform. You can come on. We could do it live. We could take questions after. No pressure. But if that's what you're thinking, just keep old Torres in mind. No big deal one way or the other. If you want to do the graphic, you can do the graphic. It's okay. But we will be waiting. We cannot wait. And dude, let me say this because we got to go. You got stuff to do. This has been so fun, man. And like, sincerely, man, I appreciate you spending the last couple weeks with us, giving us insight into who you are, what you're about, insight to the team that other people can't get anywhere else. So thank you. I hope this isn't the last time we talk, but congratulations on a second straight national championship. And I hope we're talking again soon. Okay.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you, my guy. This has been a true blessing.
Awesome. Hassan Diarra, two-time UConn national champion.